everyone, it's John from What Up, and welcome back to another video. And today we're talking Wheel of Time Season 3 news. Everything from brand new cast members to episode titles to a bunch of social media posts from cast members. And that gives us some concrete clues as to what they're doing in the show. So we're going to talk about all of that today, including a few other little tidbits that have come up. And the success of Season 2. I'm going to save a full video for that later on, but I will touch on it today because it's broken some records. So we're going to talk about that in just a bit as well. So if you're new to the channel, you don't know what we do here. We talk Wheel of Time all the time. Everything from the unofficial, the rumors and the leaks, all the way up to official news and everything in between. I try to cover each and every little tidbit about the Wheel of Time because let's face it, it's what I really like to do, and I think a lot of you folks like that too. So if you do enjoy it, subscribe to the channel, and of course, click that like button because the YouTube algorithm seems to like videos with high numbers of likes for some reason. So that being said, now we are going to have to give a bit of a spoiler warning for the video, of course, because we're talking Season 3 stuff and we may spoil a few things here and there. So spoiler warning, if you've not watched the first 2 seasons of Sony and Amazon's Wheel of Time show, that's everything from Season 1, all 8 episodes, everything from Season 2, all 8 episodes, and have not read the first 4 books of the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson, that's The Eye of the World, The Great Hunt, The Dragon Reborn, and The Shadow Rising, be forewarned, I'm going to ruin plot points and character arcs from all of those mediums. All right, that being said, let's get on to some of that news. All right, folks, so we're talking some news from Season 3 of The Wheel of Time, and a lot of this comes to us from WhatSeries.com. Now, if you're new to the fandom or new to the channel, you may not know who they are. They operate a whole lot on X, formerly known as Twitter. They have a Facebook group. They are on Instagram, and they have their own website. So I've left links to the articles we're going to reference in today's video down below in the description box. If you folks don't know who they are, when you're done the video, go to that website, bookmark it, leave a comment, say you're coming from What Up. Love what they do, support them in any way you can, because they are a fan site, much like I am. They don't have any involvement with Amazon or Sony. Amazon or Sony does not give them anything at all. They've got no gifts from them. They don't get any information from them. They have no trips from them. They're just like me. I've got none of those things either, because we both deal in leaks. The difference between myself and them is that volume. I mean, wow. The amount of news that these folks put out as fans of the series is mind-blowing. They put out more news about the Wheel of Time than every other source combined, including official sources, and I'm very safe in saying that, by a large margin. And they do this because they love the show. They're fans, and that's why they do it. So support them in any way you can, because without people like WhatSeries.com, we would not have much to talk about in between seasons, because Amazon has historically been really bad at marketing the show and really bad at keeping hype up. I'm hoping that's going to change for Season 3, because I've been told that a fair number of the marketing team has been swapped out for Season 3, so we are getting some new faces to market the show, so I'm hoping they'll do a much better job. I mean, the bar hasn't been set very high for marketing so far, so they really only have to show up once a week, in my opinion, to do any better than was done before. But so far, from what we're seeing since Season 2 ended, they're doing a pretty good job of keeping the hype up. Articles are out there. There's even a YouTube video of some of the Wheel of Time cast eating Brazilian foods. I just saw a link to that earlier today. It's not new. It's a few months old, I believe, but they're doing a good job, in my opinion. So I think it'll be better either way. Again, we're talking about a couple of things from Season 3, and speaking of leaks, I may have something for you folks by the end of the week. Now, if you're not children about it, and you want me to cast a wide net before the end of the week, I think I could do that, and I think I may be able to come up with a tidbit from Season 3 for you folks, sort of another little way to keep them along at bay. Now, I have a lot of stuff for Season 3, and I'm going to dole it out here and there, because who knows if I'll ever get more or when I'll get more, so it'll be every couple of weeks you'll see something from me, but you will get something before the end of this week. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. If you haven't turned the notification bell on, maybe think about doing that. I don't put regular videos out. They come out when they come out. I might do 2 in a day. I might do 1 every day for a week, and then it might be 3 or 4 or 5 days between videos, depending on my schedule and what I do at home. This is a hobby for me. I do it because I love the Wheel of Time, and I love the show, and I love making videos. Just don't always have time for it every single day. I would love for this one day to perhaps become a livelihood, but I don't think that's in the cards. For now, it's just a real fun hobby, and I love doing this, so videos will come out when they can. There's no real regular interview. Some people have actually sent me messages and asked about that. I don't really have a schedule. Sorry. All right, so we are talking Season 3 news. We're starting off with the episode title for Season 1. Now, the article that I've linked down below from Watt Series talks about a couple of different things. It talks about the author, the director, how it fits into the season, things of that nature. So I'm going to leave that for them and read the article for that stuff if you folks want. But we're going to talk about the title and how I think it might fit into Season 3 based on where the characters are at the end of Season 2. So the episode title is To Race the Shadow. Now, from what it has to deal with in the books, I don't believe we're getting exactly what's happening in the books for that. So they've done this a number of different times before. They've had episode titles that have been ripped from chapter titles, some from way further on in the series, such as The Taste of Solitude, and putting them in earlier seasons. So they don't necessarily have to tie in with the books, but they usually tie in with a theme or something from that chapter to give us small hints or clues as what comes. So where are we at the end of Season 2? Well, everyone is pretty much in Falmouth. Everyone is there. So we have Rand proclaimed himself as the dragon. Egwene had freed herself from her Suldam, so she is now no longer a Damane. Nynaeve still blocked, still can't channel worth a lick, and doesn't seem to get angry very often. Elaine is with her, so the daughter heir is now introduced to Rand, and he seems to have fallen in love at first sight. Matt is there. He has blown the Horn of Valir and has gained all of his memories back from his past lives. We're going to do another video on that later on because there's some stuff to talk about there. Perrin's there with Aviendha, Bane, and Shead, the Maidens of the Spear. Loyal is there. Inkar had died off screen, so to speak. That was released in a couple of different articles. We're doing a full video on that as well because that is interesting, and I have some information about that too that I want to talk about in a video. And I think it was a smart choice, but we'll get into that in another video. Lanfear's in Falm. Moghedien is there. Shamael is, for all intents and purposes, dead again. Is he coming back? Yeah, it's likely. He'll be back, I am sure. There's no way he's not. He's just going to die at the end of every season, I think, at this point. But all the major players are in Falm. And Chapter 47 of the Dragon Reborn, that comes from that title, To Race the Shadow, deals with Caemlyn and Mat in Caemlyn. So basically a rough synopsis of the chapter is Mat goes to the royal palace to deliver a letter. He eavesdrops on a conversation that effectively gives him information that Lord Gabriel, who is Queen Morghase's lover, is a dark friend, and he's basically plotting to murder Elaine, the daughter heir. So he is going to go to Tyr. Tom wants to go with him to deliver the news, and that's what the chapter's about. Now, Matt's in Falm. Unless he's magically transported to Caemlyn on some random mission, I don't think that's going to happen. Now, there are 4 storylines that we're aware of in the show for Season 3, and these are from official sources and unofficial sources. So we know we're getting the Battle of the Two Rivers. We know we're getting the Waste and Roydian. We know we're getting Tenchicho, for sure. And we believe we're getting, and this is a belief because of leaks and whatnot from WattSeries.com and myself, Caemlyn/the Tower. So the Tower coup is likely to happen in Season 3. We know Elaida is being introduced, played by Shora Agdishalu. So that is, I guess, effectively the 4th storyline. I don't think they're going to really span out more beyond 4 because 8 episodes at an hour long is not enough time to flesh out the characters and give justice to more than, I think, 4 storylines. They did a pretty good job for most of the storylines in Season 2, but Matt's and Perrin's, there's some arguments there that they were not handled properly, in my opinion. They needed way more time to be fleshed out, Matt's especially. So I would like to think that we're not getting many more than 4, and that 4 is it. So which one of those 4 fits in there? Well, the Tower, Elaida, and Caemlyn sort of kind of does. That doesn't involve Matt, of course, but maybe, just maybe, Elaida is making her way to the Tower because she finds out that Lord Gabriel is a dark friend or a Forsaken, because we know that Ravn is basically Lord Gabriel. So that would be a very good reason for her to go to the Tower. Or to check on Elaine, or to check on Gowan and Galad, because she did basically, not raise them, but she was there when they were raised. She was around. As much as Elaida could be considered affectionate, those 3 were very close to her, as close as they could get to her in the book series. As children growing up, she was a staple of their household. So wouldn't be hard to kind of swing that and have her go to the Tower for that reason. But I think her going to the Tower because she suspected there's some goings-on in Caemlyn that aren't exactly on the up and up. Maybe not a Forsaken, so to speak, because not many people know about the Forsaken just yet in the show world. But basically, if Gabriel is doing some not so great things with Morghese. Maybe that's what we'll see in season 3, and maybe that's the title to Race the Shadow. Because Elida's racing to the tower. I don't know. I don't know much about the Tower Coup storyline. I don't know much about the Camelin storyline. I literally have no information on them yet. So this is all just my gut feeling and instinct and kind of guessing. So let me know in the comments down below what you folks think. How do you think To Race the Shadow is going to fit in as episode 1? Again, I kind of started off with a bang. They did with season 2, and it worked out really well. I think they'll do the same thing with season 3. They'll introduce a bunch of new characters, some kind of big action, maybe some intrigue in Camelin. I don't know. Let me know what you folks think is going to happen at the beginning in this, premiere episode of season 3. All right, next up we have a couple of social media posts from the cast, and this is season 3 stuff. So Tom is on set for season 3. Now, I can tell you with assurance that Tom is in season 3. He is 100% filming with a few of the cast members. I know that for sure. And I can tell you he has a large part in a fairly big storyline in season 3. So we're going to see more Tom than we did definitely in season 1, and 100% more than season 2, because he wasn't in season 2 at all. But Tom is back, and he did post this on Instagram not too long ago, so we know that he's filming. And this isn't an older picture, this is something new. And this looks to be at night, so he's definitely at least doing night shoots as well. So kind of interesting there. And we have this post from Priyanka Bose, who plays Alana Mosfani. It's just her in a purple jumpsuit in what appears to be trailers on set. And if you zoom in the background there, I couldn't get a good enough screenshot of this to really blow it up the screen for you folks, but I will let you know that there are people in armor in the background around that trailer, and there is armor on the stands next to it. So this is definitely a Wheel of Time set. She's dressed all in purple, a purple jumpsuit. I mean, I love it. Purple people who love the color purple are really passionate about purple. That's too many P's. Priyanka's passionate about purple, I guess, is what you're going to say. But really neat that the cast are loud, or they are finally starting to post some more things from in and around the set. Kind of hyping up, or keeping the hype up for season 3. I'm pretty excited about that. All right, now we're getting into some more news from WatchSeries.com. It's a bunch of castings. I think we're talking a total of 4 castings for season 3. So 3 castings, not 4, 3 castings. The first is Nuno Lopes. He is a Portuguese actor who's been acting since 2001, and he has an absolute ton of credits to his name. Film, television, everything in between. He does action, drama, a little bit of everything. He's won a bunch of awards. He's probably best known for the movie Alice or St. George. So he was spotted on set about a month after filming started earlier this year, and this was released through his agency profile. So it's one of those things where it was kind of a oopsie mistake, because for some reason Amazon likes to keep castings really close to the vest of everything from minor characters and extras all the way up to and including major characters. In fact, there's some characters that never got revealed that were really big characters until they were actually seen on the screen, even though the fandom had known about them for quite some time. So he's the first of the 3 castings that we got, thanks to WatchSeries.com. And I'm not really sure what role he would play. I have no idea, although about a month after casting started, maybe we're talking Camelin, maybe we're talking kind of a bigger role. I do like him for Raven, Lord Gabriel. I think he would do a fantastic job at that. I'm not 100% if he's playing a big role, a small role, how many episodes he's in the next season, whether it's just a walk-on role, whether he has a few lines or a bunch. But I think I watched a couple of his things earlier today, and I think he would do real well as Raven. I think so. I get the idea that he'd play a really, really good Forsaken. All right, the next casting is Tereza Dušková. She's a Czech actress who's been acting since 2017, probably best known for her role as a secretary in Das Boot. She's a fantastic actress. She is going to be playing, we know the name of her character she's playing though, and this is part of the reason I gave spoiler warnings for up to and including book 4. She's playing Maigrin. Now Maigrin is, or could be, considered the reason for the Aiels' existence. So this is the first hint that we're actually going to get Rand going through the columns and seeing the history of the Aiel. Basically, she was rescued from some bandits by Lewin, and that is what basically made the offshoot of the Aiel turn from the way of the leaf. They wouldn't use swords, but they would use spears or other weapons that could be considered tools. And it was her rescue and testimony that kind of cemented those Aiel on that path and kind of made the offshoot from the Gen Aiel to the other Aiel. So I think we're going to see the history of the Aiel because of the inclusion of her character. I don't know if we'll see it exactly the same way as we did in the books. Pretty much everything we saw so far, we've had very few scenes that were identical from the books word for word. However, they've taken the spirit of a lot of them, and we've seen some really good adaptations of them so far. So I think we may get to see some of that history. Perhaps she'll be kidnapped by bandits and had to be rescued, or perhaps she may be picking up the spear herself. I really don't know how it's going to work out in the show, but I want to hear your thoughts on that down below. What do you think about us basically getting sort of confirmation that we're seeing the history of the Aiel through Rand's eyes and his ancestors' eyes? I, for one, am very excited. I wasn't entirely sure if they're going to include that with Neroidian. I really wanted them to. I wanted them to dedicate half a season to it if they could. They obviously can't. But for sure, at least we're getting it, I think. What do you folks think of that? All right, the final casting is Raksha Hoost. She is an actress from the Netherlands. She's relatively new to acting. She's been acting since 2019. She's only been in, I think, 4 credits to her name so far on IMDb. And she's playing a character by the name of Cheyenne. Now, we really don't know what that character could be. It doesn't have much of a reference to anything in the books. The name for sure isn't exactly identical to any other names in the book series. But we've seen a lot of new characters on screen that were amalgams of other characters or amalgam of ideas or themes of other characters. So she could be one of those. I think the Innkeeper from season 1. Or she could be just a walk-on role, a featured extra, or someone in the background, because we have seen a couple of different people who had role names attached to them long before the season's released, and then when the season actually gets released, the role have changed 2 or 3 times. So the name had changed on their CV once or twice, and then it changes to something more generic, and you find out they have one line in the show. So really not sure how big her role is, and I think that's what Series basically said in their post on X. They weren't 100% in that, but it's interesting to see all of these people coming together for the show. Now, what's, in my opinion, a really good thing that Amazon does with the show is they take a lot of inexperience, and I don't mean inexperience as being a bad thing. I mean people who may not have a ton of credits to their names, but they are very good actors or actresses. They just don't have a whole lot of stuff on their film reel, and they pair them up with very experienced and often legendary actors and actresses, and you get the best out of both of them because you have people that relatively have no bad habits. Like, they haven't learned anything that may hinder them in a brand new role, and you're pairing them up with people who have all the experience in the world, and they get to bounce off each other and whatnot. I really like seeing that sort of stuff on the screen, and I think that's one of the strengths of the series. They're taking relative unknowns. And when I say relative, I mean likely not household names, and they're pairing them up with much bigger actors and actresses that have a lot more experience to the benefit of both actors, I think, on screen. That's my opinion anyway. All right, so that's pretty much all the news we have for this week. Like I said, watch for a couple of different videos for me in the next week or so. I want to talk about the Nielsen ratings and how well Wheel of Time Season 2 is doing compared to Season 1. Broken records, and there was some worry at first with some of the comments from the cast and the showrunner that maybe perhaps it wasn't doing as well as we all thought. I think we can kind of throw that out now. I think they're just being protective of the property, as they should be, and they're definitely doing very, very well. I'm going to do a whole video on ratings and how that works and what Nielsen means, and how it's only indicative of the viewership numbers, and they're actually much bigger than what they have. We'll talk about that. We're going to have that late for you folks. Again, like I mentioned earlier, it's sometime before the end of the week. And then I want to talk a bit about the cut scenes from Season 2 that never really made it to the final cut. So some Ingtar scenes, his death scene, all filmed, didn't really make it. Those things were exclusives from winterscoming.net. We'll talk about those later this week. There's a ton of stuff to talk about. And I still have a couple of videos from Season 2 left to do for you folks, the episode 7 and 8 breakdowns. I haven't forgot about them. They are on the back burner. Those are just more difficult for me to do. They take a lot more time. They're more time intensive. So I need a few hours to myself to sit down and do them. Whereas a news video like this, I can put together in a shorter time span. So just need a few more hours to myself. And then I can get those out. Likely, I'm hoping sometime this weekend we'll get one of them out to you folks. All right. Thank you so very much for sticking with us here to the very end. Here's to many more.